Right then, welcome back to the channel. United did something that they've not really done before, which is give us access into Ruben Amorim's first training session, especially when they were doing shadow play. We got 8 minutes of actual in-depth footage. Now, what normally happens is we do see training every single week, sometimes twice a week when there's European games involved. We used to buy that footage at Stretford Paddock and Full-Time Devils, and we've also been able to go and get some of that footage ourselves as well. Now, what happens is they set you up for the warm-up, so you'll see a lot of the muscle activation kind of stuff happening, and the occasional rondo. You'll get 15 minutes or so at the start of the training session, and then when the actual training session starts, cameras off, get yourselves inside. You don't generally get to see actual training going on, so that was really interesting. I think there's a lot to unpack. So let's get straight into it. So key talking points from that. I think the first one just simply has to be the confirmation of the 3-4-3. We got to see the 3-4-3 in action for the first time. Amorim sticking with what he knows. It was very much likely to be the case, but I thought there was a probability or a possibility that we might see him stick with 4-2-3-1 because the lads are used to it, and you maybe don't correctly have the personnel to play a 3-4-3. But no surprises, really, in the grand scheme of things. He goes straight in with it. It's probably a relatively favourable run of games that give him an opportunity to effectively coach that formation and that style of play. In his first interview as United's head coach, he said the teams would show a clear identity. He seems to be very key and clear that identity would be the thing that he was looking to try and implement early doors. It was a big buzzword throughout the entire interview. He says, I think you will see an idea. You could like it or not, I don't know, but you will see an idea, you will see positioning, you will see something that we want to reach that kind of level. So immediately in that first training session, we do see something different, and it is the 3-4-3. He got involved, and obviously as someone that's coaching at glorified pub level, I love watching other people coach. I think you learn a lot from doing that sort of stuff, but he was heavily involved in the training process. He's certainly not a Sir Alex Ferguson, stand at the side and allow others to do it, or even a little bit like we saw with Erik Ten Hag towards the end of his reign. The training sessions that I got to observe in America at UCLA, Rude was the one on the training pitch moving people around, and Erik was off at the side having discussions with Wilcox and the like at the side. But at one point, he's literally man-marking Johnny Evans, which is nice to see. Kobe Mainoo, throughout the footage, the other thing that sort of stands out is you can see him working very, very closely with Kobe Mainoo, and I like that. He appears to be coaching him on both marking the space, moving his weight around, organising and orientating his body position to who and where the ball is at different times. And I like that. It seems like he's focusing on that individual development quite heavily. And I'm a massive nerd for details. And he was really, really imparting some level of detail into Kobe Mainoo, who I think when you come in, as Ruben Amorim will have done, you come in and you look at what's at your disposal and you see some of the talents that are there. I think one of the ones he would be like, oh, let me mould him, would have been Kobe Mainoo. So that's nice to see that he was getting in there straight away. And again, back to the interview, he said, when I think about a team, I think about every player, about the fans, the feeling, everything is on my mind. There were many players involved, obviously, all the ones that hadn't gone on international duty. And we got to see the basis of, well, we got to see the 3-4-3 with some players in some interesting positions. Anthony was at right wing back. Terrell Malacia was at left wing back. We saw a midfield partnership of Casemiro and Mainoo, which I go, okay, I could see that working fairly well. Luke Shaw was deployed at left side centre half with Johnny Evans and Lenny Yoro rounding out the three. We saw Ahmad, interestingly, like we thought we might do, in that sort of inside right position with Mount on the left and Marcus Rashford down the middle. So it's a very, very interesting sort of 11. Also good to see the likes of Yoro, Shaw, Mainoo, Malacia and Mount all being on the training pitch and eased into the swing of things after having large periods out for all of those. Now, from the footage, you can instantly see how integral the wing-backs are to what Amorim is trying to do. Malacia, I thought, actually looked sharp. Both him and Anthony are occupying very dangerous positions on the pitch. Deliveries were quick, deliveries were fluid. The likes of Mason Mount, seemingly getting on the end of quite a lot of goal-scoring opportunities as well. So I wonder if his and or Ahmad's, or would it be Bruno's, sort of goal contributions might start to go up a little bit. And we saw some counter-attacks. There was one segment where Amorim was dropping the ball in the middle of the field after an attack, where he played a quick ball forward to see what the defence recovery speed was like. You saw the likes of Yoro and Evans and Shaw managing to keep up, but he was constantly asking for more, constantly asking for tighter sort of reactions from everybody. And the whole team had to sprint back into shape. According to Amorim, that's one of his key tenets of his philosophy. When you look at the most important fundamental values, the things that he wants people to bring to play, everybody has to pull in the same direction. Back to the interview, he said in one word, team. Team is the most important thing for me. You work as a team, and then the talent individually is going to shine. And obviously, we're not going to be able to judge fully what the starting 11 is going to look like by weekend, because there's still so many players that are featuring out on international duty. The likes of Delo, Delic, Mazraoui, Fernandes, Anana, Garnacho, Xerxes, Ugarte, all not present, all should be available by the weekend. But I thought it was refreshing to finally get some insight into what we're going to see from our manager. Amorim's monumental rise to being the head coach of Manchester United has happened largely in part due to his use of this 3-4-3 formation. He's sticking to what he knows here, it looks like. Old Trafford is going to be a place where a back three is deployed. And while he prepares for his first Premier League game, it looked like it started off quite well. Everyone seems happy, everybody seems prepared, everybody seemed focused. His interview gave us some real good quotes, some nice first impressions. All eyes on Ipswich. Kieran McKenna, obviously a very good up-and-coming young coach, known at Manchester United. He's going to be relishing the opportunity to try and come up against the current Manchester United manager after being part of the coaching staff himself at Manchester United first team very recently. Very good tactical coach. Have we played the first card of our hand and shown him what our formation is going to be and allow him to prepare with that? Or does Amorim not care and think, people will soon start to know our formation? They might as well get used to it early doors. Let me know your thoughts on what you saw in training, and what do you think our lineup's going to be come weekend? Because I think there's quite a lot of options, and there's some areas with less options, but there's quite a lot of options emerging for us. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.